Today on Under Par, I'm sitting down with Stanley Campbell of Martin Downs Golf Club and Resort. There are less than 20 black-owned golf courses in the United States and only 3 in Florida. You may have heard of the first 2, Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods. Well, Stanley Campbell owns the 3rd. I had the opportunity to get his perspectives on our community in golf and where he sees it heading.
Obviously, there's not a lot of people with color of color in golf on the business side, and there's a lot more African American golfers than people know about or think about. When I say people, meaning industry people like the PGA, like the major manufacturers. So there's people like myself or Michael Jordan start entering because everybody knows Tiger, and Tiger has a path. But when you got folks from other sports entering, and then now for me from business entering, then it starts getting noticed. And I mean, we'll wind up if we do this right, we'll stimulate another 3 to 5 golf course owners within the next 2 years.
Wow.
In the next 5 years, we'll probably have 10. And in the next 15 years, it won't even be a discussion because we should have over 150 golf courses for people of color.
Wow.
And the key is you play 2 courses here since you've been here and feel. What did it feel like? How did it make you feel to play the other course versus how did it make you feel to play here today?
It's different.
It's a little different.
There's some pride there,
Yeah.
So.
And it's a different kind of welcoming. And that's really when we can get that to be normalized, then you now take that basketball body and put it on the course 15 years ago.
Right.
Right. And so when you see the physicality of the people who are playing now versus the physicality of the people you played with on the court,
different.
It's totally different.
Totally different.
We will change the game. It will change all the way. I mean, we saw a little bit with Tiger. Tiger's dad's a military guy, so you got that focus. You got that, and then his mom is Asian, so you got that other different kind of focus. Well, same thing with any other sport. It will change, and we're going to change it. We're going to change it starting right here.
Right on. Yeah, and I think the focus has been on the players that are in golf. And that seems like the focus. It's like we've got to get our youth going and, get them, the funds so that they can get into their scholarships and get the funding to actually get out and play. But yeah, that is an important part of the business side of it.
The business side, I call it, we seen, Lee Elder and Tiger Woods and, even people like Chichi Rodriguez and those guys. We've seen them. But what we don't see and haven't seen is the business side where we have zero people of color who sell fertilizer. But if you look at the stock market over the last year and a half, my fertilizer cost, my pesticide cost, and my herbicide cost is going up 500%. So if you look at the stock market and look at their stock prices, you see Google and Tesla and all that. Those guys are killing them. And so what winds up happening, that's just one aspect. Then you look at the equipment. There's not one black or Hispanic, well, I would say black, dealer or distributor for Yamaha in the world in golf.
Wow.
There's not one black distributor for the greens equipment. I have John Deere out there.
Mm-hmm.
$1.5 million of John Deere equipment, and there's not one black distributor I could have bought that from in the world.
Wow.
And so that doesn't mean there's just not a black John Deere distributor,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a high-end equipment. That's precision equipment.
Mm-hmm.
That is their best and top-of-the-line equipment. And so we're not in there. Then you look at the Masters and look at the advertising budget.
Mm-hmm.
We have, in the entirety of golf, less than 2% of the expenditures for media is with black media companies. Less than 2%.
Wow.
And so what winds up happening now, you got the Live Tour tying with the PGA, and then that pushes us even further back. And so what winds up happening is the business of golf, that scaffolding of golf that holds up the entire structure of what golf is, that's what I've sneaked into. That's what I've broken into. I peeked in there and I didn't see anybody that looks like us.
Mm-hmm. So you were not an avid golfer before you bought this, from what I understood. So I mean, so you know all of this now, and you're in tune with how we are not in this industry. Yes. But how did you? Why did you start with golf? Why golf? A golf course.
I kind of stumbled into it. It wasn't golf when the deal first came to me. It was real estate. It was a golf course in South Florida. I'm from South Florida. I own property in South Florida. I know what the real estate value. And with so many closures of golf courses around the country, for one to be in disrepair in South Florida and then be up for sale, and be up for sale for some ridiculous price, on it, to the point that the guy made a bid and put it up for auction, and he got twice what everybody thought he would get, almost 3 times what. And to me, I would have paid double what I paid or triple what I paid.
Wow.
And so what wound up happening is, because I know we're 6 miles from the beach. We're less than a half mile from 495. I'm from I-95, and less than a mile and a half from less than a half mile from the Florida Turnpike. So what winds up happening is, if I wanted to do a hotel, and I do want to do a hotel, I want to do a $380 million hotel, because if we now do the hotel tied with the golf course, we have someplace to stay. And if I put, you have Renegade golf balls. If I put them in and I challenge the PGA that, hey, the PGA store has nothing I can buy from a black vendor. So now those golf balls get in. And so we sell them and other people sell them. And then once we get 3, 4, 5, once we get apparel, Derek did a really good job with braids.
Yeah.
But look at FUBU did another good job with clothing.
Right.
And so once we get the clothing and apparel, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, maybe even Stanley Campbell. Because when we now start moving the Martin Downs brand out, it's going to mean a lot. It is. Martin Downs will be golf for us and by us.
Right on.
That's it. That's what we're going to do.
Right on.
And then we're going to bring all of these people along with us, and we're going to ask them to let us ride on their waves as well.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. So as you're going through this, you're a very successful person to be able to buy a golf course. What would you say are some of the major decisions that you've made in your life that, put you on this track?
Sure. I mean, my parents started with decisions for us. I was my younger brother's first generation to integrate. So back in the early 70s, when these court cases came down and you're trying to be born, we wound up integrating. My parents got me into junior high school in Miami Beach. So you see a different kind of dynamics than what we have in Liberty City. But what they did was they put us all in the same classes. So it was like you just move the classroom from the inner city and you put it on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get disruption because we were disruptive. And my father had to come out to the school and all the rest. And he sits in the class, in the back of the class. And every time my hand goes up, every question, my hand goes up. So that means I know the stuff. I know the text. And so when he and the counselor starts talking, it's like, well, I know my son, and I will, believe me, he will take care of you. You got 5 boys, he will take care of you when you get home. But in the communication he had with her is, he's not being challenged. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in the coursework that he doesn't already know. So if you're not going to challenge him, boys will find things to do. And so they moved me out of that class. And then they started moving other people out of the class because my father was not that quiet a guy. Mm-hmm. And so when we start moving into other classes, by the time I finished high school, I'd already taken organic chemistry from the same book that I took organic chemistry in college.
Wow.
I'd already taken calculus 2 in the same book that I used in college.
Wow.
And then when you come back from my next generation, my brother's kids, and I now got to show up because I'm the one with the degree. And then we have the same exact conversation that my father had, not being challenged. And so they made that first choice. Then I made the choice in college, then the choice to study physics and mathematics, the choice to join the United States Navy, the choice to be a pilot, the choice to go a path of the astronaut program or come out and go into business with aviation. And so either one of them would have been a great choice. I chose to do the business part. And the reason being is because after I figured, gone to fly, gone at the test center, Charlie Bolden and I, who was the astronaut who had the most flights of any head of NASA, once I figured out that I could do it, then there become a different challenge. Mm-hmm. And I chose business as being the next challenge.
Right. Awesome. So when you bought this golf course, mm-hmm. So it wasn't like it is today. No. You've had so what was that? So you bought the course, and then what? And what have you had to overcome as part of getting into this golf industry?
Well, I mean, the first thing is being from Florida and from South Florida, the area. When I was growing up, this was called the Sunset Town, meaning if you're of color, you can't be here without the trees growing strange fruit. And so what winds up happening is when I bid it, I wasn't in the room. When I won the bid, I had no idea what I was getting into. But if you're going to be a student of physics and mathematics and biochemistry and chemistry and the like, then why not be a student of not just the sport, but of the business? So but any good businessman knows that if you're going to be successful, you surround yourself with good people. So I went and found a guy who ran this course when it was the qualifying course for the U.S. Open and the qualifying course for the PGA. He left here in 2015. I found him and I hired him. And in hiring him, and I had to get him from PGA, meaning he was running one of the top courses in PGA. His course is going to be on TV twice a year, every year.
Wow.
So to take a guy from PGA, you got to offer him the world. And so I gave him the shortest offer letter that I've ever written. Put his name on the paper, and then with his name and the date, and I said, take the paper home and fill it in. and talk to your wife, and because that's a big move. Leaving PGA, top of the world course, South Florida, PGA, I think it was a Ryder or Wanamaker course. And I said, fill it in and come back. He filled it in and came back. Never in a million years thinking I'm going to give him what he asked for. I signed the bottom.
Right.
And then his name is Jesus. So it was like, and that was my mantra. If you want the grass to grow, hire Jesus, you know. So he likes to be called Jesus. And if I pull up my phone, I say, hey, Siri, call Jesus, right?
Oh my God.
And Jesus answers the phone every time. But Jesus knew the irrigation system. The fairways had not been watered in 4.5 years.
Wow.
Not because it didn't have water, it's because the irrigation system was broken. So I needed somebody who knew what it was, how it worked. We had 3 pumps that didn't work. I'm sorry, 2 pumps out of 3 that didn't work. So we were at 30% capacity. The capacitation of three pumps gets you to 120% capacity. So you can get to almost 80 to 90% capacity with 2 pumps. So if I could just get 2 pumps, but they cost $30,000 to overhaul each. So now I'm like, in the first 2 weeks, he figures out that one of them was only a fuse.
Wow.
It was a fuse and a pressure line that it won't engage without the pressure line. He fixes the pressure line, fixes the fuse, and now we got 2 pumps.
Right.
And when we turned the fairway on, we had no idea. We had dirt this high, 3 or 4 inches high over the sprinklers, and it smelled like sewer water, but it started working. And then leaks all over the place. Yep.
Right.
So we in that first year we fixed 43 leaks, about 10 to 20 under 12 inches of concrete, meaning now we're cutting concrete and we're digging holes. And these guys are not shy to work. They dug those holes with shovels and picks because we didn't have a backhoe.
Wow.
And not one of them flinched because they had pay, a living wage, insurance. So this was also the middle of COVID. I vaccinated 100% of the staff. First PGA course in the world to vaccinate 100% of its staff. And then we vaccinated the neighborhood.
Wow.
And when you're talking about making collaboration, retired nurses, people come down here to retire, come on, give shots. So for the first time, the people who golf here can look straight in the eye and touch these guys who are doing the greens.
Right, right.
For which they normally see them from afar.
Right.
And so those are transformational things. They don't look and sound so transformational. But to these guys, they are so in tune to not engage with the people in the neighborhood. Do their job and get out of the way. Not be seen.
Be invisible.
Be invisible. Now, how many of us have had to do that during the course of our life?
Wow.
And so those are the kinds of things that, and now I don't know how many courses that give all of their people livable wages, insurance, and 401ks, but we do. And I can tell you, top restaurant in this area, they now do as well. Because I will take their people if they don't. It's just that simple.
Right. That's something to be very proud of, be able to do that. And, it's like life-changing for people that are able to
That's
work
right.
for you. And that you create this culture where others you need to come on board or otherwise.
Or not. Because you came from California. If you go any further, you're going to be swimming. And so coming from California, we've had people come from Scotland to play here. Scotland, home, birthplace of golf, come here to play from Scotland.
Yeah.
And it's because the things that we're doing are much further reaching than just swinging the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can do well and do good at the same time.
Right. So, what other things would you say make you, give you pride from, having this course?
I think when I see people engage, when I see young people, I could not have, when you guys came in this morning to play, you saw that I had about 12 or 15 young kids. Only 2 of them have been at a golf course before. They're getting coached by a guy who was in the finals with Nicholas twice.
Wow.
That's Chuck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, that's hard. We had about a month and a half ago, we had Tiger Woods. His son was playing in the juniors medalist tour, PGA medalist tour. Tiger Woods goes up to our bistro to get a hot dog. Not one person, it was 3 ladies working there, not one of them knew who he was.
Really?
So what that's saying is you're now also introducing a staff to a country club lifestyle and a country club environment who know nothing about the sport. But then they get that exposure. 2 of the 3 are in college.
Wow.
Now think about freshmen in college and exposure to a country club when you've never had it before. That is tantamount to going to Europe and doing education abroad.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so what winds up happening is when you can get that kind of exposure with people, it goes viral. It literally goes viral. I spoke at a junior high school, and I said to the junior high school, everybody here has free membership. And, they don't know what free membership is. They have no idea. They just got $15,000 in their pocket, free membership. And I think maybe 2 of them came out twice. But what winds up happening is when you can go out there and they can see the exposure. Golf is not the exposure thing for them. They want to know, oh, your brother's a rapper and all the rest of it. They want to know, wow, you flew airplanes in the Navy and what was it like and what's it like to go supersonic or be upside down? All those are things, whatever it takes to get their attention, I'll use it.
Mm-hmm.
I will use it. And in getting their attention, I made a little joke, but I was very serious. These 2 little kids at the Boys and Girls Club. They're not paying attention. Beginning of the talk. By the end of the talk, they're on the elbows. They're leaning in. And I guarantee you, this one, I said, this is the first millionaire out of this room. I guarantee you, this little guy, because now he's gone from one thing to the other thing to now leaning into the questions he asked. I said, because every question that he asked I would not expect any different from a person in the MBA program at Florida A&M University, or Harvard, or Howard, or any one of those top business schools. Those were the kinds of questions that were coming out of a 14-year-old.
Wow. That's great. So, what kind of, I understand that I saw or heard somewhere that you're first one here and last one to leave. What kind of mantras or, rules to live by, that you have?
I talked about those calculus courses and organic chemistry courses. What I didn't say is I got C's in those courses in high school. What I didn't say is I had to read the chapter 4 times to get a C. I had to, on either one of them. But, okay, I got to read it 4 times. That's my starting line. I never, ever, ever let any of that get in the way. So by the time I get to college, having already read those and having already done that, then you set a pace for yourself. You set templates for yourself. So flight school, you know, if I have to study harder, you just work harder. It's not like I'm going to try to outwork the other guy. It's just like I'm going to try to work to the level. And what the military did, particularly doing the special forces things, is it then takes you even to another level, like doing things that you never knew that you could do. I'm from Miami, and the first day at SEER school, Search, Escape, Evasion, and Tactics School, or our POW and all the rest of that, first time I seen snow, I was dropped in a blizzard. First time seeing snow. Dropped in a blizzard with a knife in a canteen. This ain't like we're gonna have a campfire and we got big, nice clothes and jackets and no blizzard. And now we're gonna try to catch you. And then once we catch you, we're gonna torture you.
Oh,
so what winds up happening is when you know what the tenor is for what what taking you to that brink, golf is. And the business of golf is really just taking on that same tenacity. By the time I was here for 3 months, I could tell you the difference in 5 different types of grass. I could tell you herbicide. I was studying to take the herbicide test because you had the pesticides test or the chemicals test, because you have to be licensed in the state of Florida. Jesus, we both got the book, and he's like, he is not going to beat me at my own subject. So he ran and took the test before me. And so I put the book down. Okay, you got it. But you know, and I love the golfers coming. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do this. So, but I'm a military person. We work strategies and we work tactics. And we don't get misfocused by noise. And so our strategies and tactics were do the things we do to know how we're going to progress the course and how we're going to get it back to not just being a good course, but to being the best course in South Florida, which we have some pretty good courses in South Florida. Best clubhouse in South Florida. And then for people of color, being the single most welcoming place for you to golf. And for people in this neighborhood who are not of color, having the same level of welcome. I mean, we've had Republican judges debating right at that table right there.
Wow.
For election. We've had the state Democratic caucus right in the ballroom where you guys will have your dinner. We've had the Daughters of the American Revolution. I'm now on the board of the local college, and that college will have a medical school. A junior college in 3 years will have a medical school, from a junior college to a medical school in 3 years. Because when we get on the board, we think like, and the reason I'm on there is because we can now give full 2-year scholarships to a degree with 0 out of pocket and 0 entrance. Meaning you don't have to even have taken an SAT. Forget about your score.
Wow.
We have you write 1 paragraph and you're in college. That's it.
That's amazing.
And paid for 2 years.
Amazing.
To a degree. And if you get a 3.7 at Indian River State College, you can go to any state college with no entrance. You get a 3.7 out there with us, you will get into any state college in the state of Florida.
That's beautiful.
Oh yeah, we're going to change this entire game. And you got to pay for that. And we figured out, or Indian River College has figured out how to pay for it. we had 7% Black intake and 70% Hispanic intake last year.
Wow.
That's why you get on the board. That's why you have to be engaged.
So will you be in politics at some point?
Never. No.
You're affecting all this change and everything like that and connecting.
No. This, if I was going to do it, this would be the year to do it. Because we have a governor that leaves a lot to be desired, particularly for people of color. We have a senator that's not much better than him, and he's up for election. He wasn't born here; he lived here, but he's not done real well by the state. And if I was to run, I'd be running against Rick Scott. I thought about it because I'm from Miami. I went to school with my Hispanic brothers. Went to Florida A&M University, and when I joined in Tallahassee, and when I joined the Navy, flight school was Pensacola. And so I've lived and worked and thrived at every part of the state. So yes, I could run and I would beat him, and I know I would beat him badly. But I choose to encourage him to do better, to be a better person, definitely to be a better person than he has been in the past. And I think we'll get that. So we have a homegirl from Miami who hit the Supreme Court. None of that's by accident. We just got a lot of work to do, and we've got to challenge ourselves to stay engaged. Just stay engaged.
I do see a theme with you where you encourage others to do more and be more. Yeah.
Well, you see, my wife. My wife is Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services, and that or Assistant Secretary for Administration. First woman to ever have the job. First person of color to ever have the job, because the job controls of the normal $1.7 trillion budget controls about 1.5 trillion of it. It's the job where, Dr. Fauci and his boss report into that position, particularly for their funding. The issue is when you take that job in the middle of the pandemic, you get another 2 trillion plus up and $1 trillion left from Trump. And so by the time she's done with her first year, she's expending, and managing the staff of 90,000 people, 21 unions, and $5 trillion.
Wow.
So you're talking about a beast. She is a beast. But the thing is, to her words, you'd be surprised, you'd be shocked. I mean, absolutely shocked how much you can get accomplished when you really don't care about who gets the credit. And that's really a thing to live by. If you target to the goal and you don't worry about who takes the credit for it, you'd be surprised how much can get done.
Wow.
If it gets attributed, fine. If it doesn't get attributed, fine. The key is getting the job done.
Wonderful, wonderful. So do you and your wife golf now at the course?
We're working at it. We're working at it. We are trying so hard to be golfers, and we both got that little competitive edge, And so the next time you see me, I'm gonna beat half of the guys out there in that lobby. I am not going to have them continuously come out here and beat me at my own course. But, that ain't going to happen. If I got to go do sit-ups, lose 25 more pounds or whatever else, but I'm getting in the game. I am absolutely going to get in this game.
Right on.
And then even worse than that, my brother comes up here and beats me whenever he gets a chance. Yeah. So I'm going to fix all of that.
So that brings up another thing. So you have siblings, 4 siblings?
four brothers,
Four
five of us.
brothers, yes. And I heard you talk about one of them was a rapper.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
my youngest brother, who was the shyest brother, happened to be the entertainer. Right? You're looking like him shy. Yes, he was shy. Yeah,
Wow.
but Luther Campbell.
Okay.
Yeah, from the former Two Live Crew, or Uncle Luke as they know him now. Yes.
Right. That's awesome.
So with this being the 50th year of hip hop, he was very instrumental in a lot of the success of both himself and a lot of other people.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great genes.
Yeah, well, you know, we had parents who really very strict, but not restrictive. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, I came home and one day I just thought I wanted the bedroom and we were going to paint it black because I saw that on a picture somewhere. And my mother said, "Oh yeah, baby, go ahead." The woman let me paint the room black. It's a 2-bedroom house, and all 4 or 5 of us in this 1 bedroom. You can imagine with the clearly we had to paint that back, you know, within a year. But then I come home with this other one. I think I'm gonna put paneling in the house. Like I had never in my life. I mean, I took shop for like two semesters. Well, I didn't know a thing about no paneling or whatever.
Wow.
We put paneling in that woman. That she flat out never restricted you from thinking out of the box. And you know, 5 of us do 5 different things. And I'm pretty sure all of my brothers would say the same thing. They just, she didn't restrict us, and my father did whatever she said. You know, strong man. My 2 older brothers were from my mother's previous marriage, and then the 3 of us younger. And my father raised us all. Never once used the word stepbrother or stepdad or anything else because they only knew one father. That's how young they were. And so what winds up happening when you get that kind of cohesiveness, my wife and I have been married 34 years, and you there's a lot that you can accomplish. A lot that you can accomplish. And literally, she and I are just getting started.
That's
the honeymoon's going to start again tonight.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. If she was here, she'd be going under that table right now. Right?
Love it. Love it. Love it. And so, so right now the golf course is your focus. Do you have some vision on something else outside of, you know, this golf industry next on radar?
Yeah. So the golf course is actually my night job. This is like, I have a day job. You know, I have a company. I have a fairly successful, different business than the golf course.
Okay.
I have an information technology company. I started about 20 years ago, sold it off to a hedge fund, and then I bought it back after they kind of took it into demise. And about 10, 11 years ago, I came back in and now it's called Eagle Force. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we have what might be the largest network in pharmacy in the United States. Mm. So I message bidirectionally, meaning we send analytic messages into every pharmacy in the United States, mm-hmm. and we receive information back from everyone. So every CVS, every Walgreens, every Walmart, every mom and pop, mm-hmm. we message into them. My clients in that business, the top 20 manufacturers in the world, 19 of them are my clients. So if you see an ad on TV, most likely 9 out of 10 of them are my clients.
Wow.
So just look at those commercials tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and when you hear them say, and if you can't pay for your thing, or if you get your assistance, and you just tell us, and we're going to give you this coupon or this co-payment or whatever else,
Mm-hmm.
those are my clients. And what I do is I adjudicate those to just say yes or no. But in doing that, I have 14 patents in artificial intelligence and neural computing. And those 14 patents I've monetized into that level of analytics. So we have 290 million Americans in our system. That's about 100 million more than Facebook, about 150 million more than Amazon. And Amazon is a client as well. PillPack or is a client. AWS is a client. Different than Amazon,
Yes.
which is Amazon Help. So hopefully there'll be a day where you talk to Alexa and you say, Alexa, when is my next, appointment? Part of my system may be saying, your appointment is here, but if you want me to drop your medicine at your California home, or you want me to drop it at the golf course at Martin Downs, right? And then Alexa will deliver you your medication. But those are the kinds of things that give you the opportunity to pay for something like this. And that's a big reach, and it's a lot of responsibility, because you've got the healthcare of 200 million Americans and their pharmacy prescriptions. So the security, the interoperability, the way we share information, and doing that at not just military standards or military grade, but military certified, because I originally did that for the Defense Department.
Wow.
So that's my day job.
You do things big. You do things big.
It's big problems, and that's the interesting thing. If you ever want to define my wife and I, and the business acumen that we brought over the last, let's say, 30 years, is we have handled some of the largest problems that the United States has faced. If you remember when the Affordable Care Act and the African American woman that was testifying, when the system didn't work the first day, that was my wife. Yeah. That's how she got the job she got today, because she helped navigate us through the toughness of the transformation of an entire national healthcare system.
Wow.
And we have people in Washington who remembered that. When we were in the middle of COVID, who would help to navigate us out of COVID? That's how she got that job.
That's beautiful. Wow. Big.
Yep.
Oh, this has been wonderful. So is there anything?
Yeah, you're getting a Pulitzer out of this. The first podcast to get a Pulitzer. We got it. I'm rooting for you.
Oh my God. So is there something, I'm like, sometimes I don't know what I don't know. Like, is there something that I should ask you that,
do you like long walks on the beach? Right?
How did you meet your wife?
Oh no, that's a two-part. That is like Netflix phase 1. He tells you what, and then that's episode 2. Where's Shonda Rhimes? We got to write both of those episodes, because that's two. We got two totally different stories.
Really?
I say that I was stalked.
What?
I was stalked. I was minding my own business. I was a young man, very impressionable, and she stalked me. Like, I met her at a nightclub, and the next thing I know, she's working at the company that I work at. And then
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, we actually literally met at a club. I was with a couple of the department heads, and they had talked to her, and I had talked to her, and they wanted to hire her for a marketing position. She was a technical person, but she showed the skills for marketing, and they wound up. She had just moved, and she transposed the numbers, so they couldn't find her, and I couldn't find her either. So all of us were looking for her. And one day she just showed up there. I guess they figured it out. And then I saw her in the office when she was doing the interview. And if she would say it, she tells the story a different way. But she literally says it was love at first sight.
Oh.
And which is thus she didn't stalk me, because after that, now she's going to try to play hard to get. Really? Really? But clearly we got it together.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that sometimes you get the right person, sometimes you get the wrong person, but you just never, stop being yourself and stop, trusting people. They may not deserve that trust, but do it anyway. Just do it anyway. Because it's really about you and what you bring to the relationship. And I just try to bring honesty to it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't have any more questions. This has been absolutely wonderful.
Well,
I really
good.
appreciate your
Well,
time.
thank you.
And, this is my first one. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like wonderful.
Yeah,
Special.
yeah, you
Thank
got the documentary going. All right. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for taking the time. And thanks for coming out. And welcome to Martin Downs Country Club and Resort.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.